All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Bandwagon Wednesday. We are back here once again in the Arctic Air Studios, ready to talk a little Red Raider football, Big 12, college, NFL, Texas Rangers, World Series, Bandwagon Wednesday, whatever else may be going on. We're going to do it tonight. Brought to you by Pete's Tire Service in Ropesville, Texas. Man, they'll take care of you. You have a flat roadside service, you need that number, lay it into your phone, Pete's Tire Service. Hard to find some really good roadside service assistants around these parts. They can get it done for you. Hey, they also sell tires. Imagine that. Also by Premier Sportsplex. The game is on. They've got a little Halloween action going on. Go to their Facebook page. They have a great Facebook page for Premier Sportsplex. It gives you all the up-to-date information, everything you need to know. Check them out there at Premier Sportsplex. Then, of course, you can get in today on the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. Your tailgating headquarters. All of it begins at United. There's no game this weekend. Doesn't matter. You're still tailgating. You're going to have a great time doing it. You're going to go by one of your local United locations. Great supporters of Texas Tech. As I like to say, there's one supermarket that has their name around Texas Tech, and there's one that has it around the Longhorns. Take your pick. Damon is in. He says the talking box is on. Indeed, you are correct. Randy jumping in. Hey, good to see the HUD man getting in there today. I give a few more folks a little chance to get in as we go through. And remember, if you are watching on Twitter, if you're watching on our YouTube channel live, use that United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. We want to make sure we get your comments so we can see them. We use multi-platform streaming devices. It's easy to funnel it into one thing like the radio show. All right, let's do it in 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com, hanging out in the Arctic Air Studios. Arctic Air is on the way. Looks like maybe this week we're going to have, maybe this weekend, the first freeze, right on schedule. The annual first freeze in Lubbock is early morning, November 1, after Halloween. So it looks like we're going to get there. Hopefully your heater is up to the task. If not, you need to call the bear. Yes, you do. Callthebear.com. All right. Got some good news for Tech fans today. Morton is going to be back for TCU. They're reshuffling the offensive line. Stats is going to go over to right guard. Wilburn is going to go to center. That Stats nursing a little injury there that is affecting the snap. So they're going to move him there. So that's the latest from the Joey McGuire media availability today. Tonight, we're asking you this question, though. What is it? What's the question? Oh, I got to tell you, what has surprised you the most this season about Texas Tech football? Of everything that has happened, what has surprised you the most this year when it comes to Red Raider football? Good, bad, indifferent, or otherwise. Things you did not think would happen. Now, obviously, most people didn't think that this team would be underwater at this point. I get that. I understand that. But maybe, go from the broad to the narrow. And maybe there are some good things that you were surprised about. Even a team that's struggling still has some good things. So the things that have surprised you the most as we delve into the open date, we discuss that. It's Bandwagon Wednesday, the ones you're on, the ones you're off. Sports or otherwise. Might be on the Rangers bandwagon. If you got off a few weeks ago, the bandwagon, it's okay. There's plenty of room. Jump on. It's what we do. So get in there. Hey there, Ben. Good to see you. Mike jumping in, and you guys getting in on Twitter and on YouTube now. Don't forget, utilize the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. Off the text line, Spitgate this year, and in the bowl game, we had a player that said allegedly a racial slur. We sure do walk like a bunch of ducks. Joey McGuire says he's seen nothing to back up the claims that Jaden York allegedly spit on a BYU player. He invites you to watch the videographic evidence and see if it's there. He called it Spitgate, I believe. We got to come up with a better name. Everything gets Watergate attached to it. It becomes boring. I was thinking more like the expectoration investigation. But McGuire, standing by, many Tech fans were adamant last Saturday night that there was nothing to indicate that the player in question spit on a BYU Cougar. I don't know if he did or I don't know if he didn't. I do not know. I said at the time, I stand by this. If anything came out where the Tech felt like he had done it on purpose, add a game to it, obviously Texas Tech doesn't feel like there's anything to it. And Joey McGuire standing by that today at the media availability. Randy says that the discipline penalties have been surprising. Yeah, your pre-snap, post-snap, not just playing hard football penalties, I think, are a little maddening at times. Your offsides, your roughness, your stuff like that. And even penalties of aggression, you can be aggressive and not get penalized. It is possible to do that. Mike says, I never saw anything to make me think anyone spit. No, it sure didn't appear that way on TV. Of course, you don't always see everything. TV can be very deceptive at times. So, yeah, that's where we are tonight. What has surprised you the most about this team? Good, bad, or indifferent? Things you didn't think you would see, weren't expecting to see, or otherwise. And then we've just got the general football stuff. Like I said, Morton is throwing in practice, according to Joey McGuire, and this is the first time in a long time. And I get the feeling that, after they had to take him out during the K-State game, they're just like, all right, we've got to shut him down. Maybe we can beat BYU without him, but we know we can't beat TCU without him. We know we can't beat Kansas. We know we can't beat Texas, and UCF, who knows? I think you reach a certain point with a player and say, we've got to take the pain now, or this is never going to get any better. So they shut him down for BYU. And obviously you weren't good enough to win. It wasn't quite like Tyner starting against Oklahoma there a few years ago in Norman, but obviously you were nowhere near good enough to win that game without Morton. And a defense that has been skating by pretty scot-free, Been skating by pretty much free. Tim DeRuyter's really happy that Zach Kittley's catching most of the help because they've had more than their share of issues as well. Gary's joined in today. Matthew. Is that 1T in Matthew? Surprised on the inability or unwillingness by the offensive coaches to adjust, to follow the script regardless. Yeah, there's been more than a little bit of discussion about that. But then again, I bring myself to the idea of I don't know what the script is. I still don't know. If you ask me what the Zach Kittley offense is, I could not tell you. I don't know what it is. It has become a grab bag of things at different times, mystifying at times, that I don't know what it is. And they'll come back and say, well, you ran the ball 31 times. Okay, you got to be real careful when you bring stats at me. There's stats, there's lies, and there's damn lies. The statistics after that. I went backwards on the Mark Twain quote, but you get the idea. Not all rushes are equal. Yeah, we say follow the script. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So if anybody wants to tell me what it is, for one brief shining moment, I will say the Baylor game in Waco was everything this program, I think, could be, hopefully will be, under Joey McGuire and the idea of complementary football, which is not just unique to Texas Tech, certainly. A lot of, it's another really good buzzword in college sports, Texter, the fact our, quote, air raid passing is non-existence, well, not any good, if I never hear air raid again, that'd be fine with that because there is no such thing as air raid. Joey McGuire didn't hire Kittley to run the air raid. There's no air raid. The air raid is dead. And it really had died even before the passing of Mike Leach. Not to try to conflate two terms there. I apologize if that comes across crass. But it doesn't exist in college football anymore. And you can't win big with it anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But I think maybe one of the best thing maybe could happen to Texas Tech going forward, and I'm not advocating a change here, all right? This is a conversation I had earlier in the week with somebody. I am not advocating a change at offensive coordinator. But if you got away from somebody completely who has any ties whatsoever to Texas Tech or anything that some people think is air raid or whatever, that would probably be a really good thing, I think. David, there is no air raid in college football. No, there is not. So we're asking you things that have surprised you about this team. Bandwagons you are on, bandwagons you are off, sports or otherwise. I'm on the bandwagon of I don't know how many of you guys read Joe Kinsey's column on Outkick.com, Screen Caps in the morning, a Screen Caps viewer. And by the way, that's where Raiderland Hot Links came from. Although the idea of posting links to stuff is as old as the internet is, pretty much going back, just been remorphed, whatever. But I freely give credit to what Kinsey did. We've morphed that into a West Texas Tech style of Screen Caps. Anyways, one of the readers of Screen Caps wrote a screenplay that got picked up by the Hallmark Channel, and it's a Christmas movie. It's called Checking It Twice. I finally finished it up. It debuted last Friday or Saturday night. I'm not sure which. And I finally finished it up, and it's pretty darn good. It is a rare Hallmark movie written from a guy standpoint. I'm not going to give anything away here, but the guy who wrote it freely admits a big fan of the movie Bull Durham. It's a hockey twist on it, and it's really pretty good. Now I know guys are going, I ain't gonna watch no Hallmark movie. Yeah, you will. You will. Whether you want to or not. Now I got to click on the see more because David writes too much. You have to have big uglies on both lines, a running game, passing game, any good linebacker play, defense back play, and most importantly, a quarterback that could read a defense. Yeah, those all come in handy. I think one thing that I would color myself surprised at is the inefficiency of the Texas Tech offensive line, certainly. And I really believe, I want to believe, that Joey McGuire believed it, Stephen Hamby believed it, and Zach Kittley believed that this offensive line would be better. That getting some experience back, another year in the system, all that stuff, getting healthy guys, but that I really believe, I want to believe, I do believe, why not? It's almost Christmas time, why not believe? That they believe that that offensive line was going to be better. And I get the feeling they have been as frustrated, maybe mystified, as a lot of Texas Tech fans are at what the offensive line has not done. The defense, you knew you were losing somebody special in Tyree Wilson. You thought, with Pierre, with a couple of different guys, maybe group-wise you could elevate and do some stuff, and that really hadn't happened either. You haven't controlled the line of scrimmage consistently on either side. And I've been told by really smart football coaches that if you don't do that, you're going to have problems. Albert's surprised that we had somewhat capable third-string quarterback. I'm not surprised. Quarterbacks are coming out of high school now more and more college football game ready than they ever have been, particularly out of the state of Texas, where so many teams now over the last 10, 15, 20 years have adopted an open passing spread. The rise of 7-on-7 in the summers, which I would have killed to have done that growing up. Holy cow, my summers would have been just awesome. Going to tournament after tournament. Hold on. All we're doing is passing, and nobody can hit me? Sign me up for that. Man, would have been great. So more and more quarterbacks are ready, and you see it around the country. Teams are winning with young quarterbacks. Either Utah, either walk-on quarterback. David says, I don't discredit Hamby. I think Hamby has these Wells recruits doing all they can. Well, remember also there's some guys that have been brought in, some of Joey's dudes also brought in on that transfer wire. So it's not completely Wells. What you have, though, with the offensive line, though, is multiple years of poor recruiting under Wells, no commitment to high school players. And if you're going to get killed anywhere, it's going to be offense and defensive lines on that recruiting philosophy. Kirby Hocutt saw that. That was one of the reasons why he made the move that he did. So he knew where this was going to end up, and you're paying the price for it right now, I think, particularly on the lines. Need some wide receivers to start showing us something. You're not going to get it this year. Trevor Lawrence, two all young quarterbacks that were one at the highest level agreed. Texter off the United Supermarkets text line. By the way, those Boar's Head sandwiches that they got in the deli section that are pre-made, I'm on that bandwagon, and that may be my dinner tonight. Every Texan should be on the Rangers bandwagon, even Houstonians. I don't want the Houstonians. I don't want the Astro fans. You've had your run. You sit over there. You've been mouthy. You've been America's team and everybody against us. And hey, you sit there and you take it. You take the pain. You watch the Rangers win. This is the least likely of Ranger teams probably to break through and win the World Series out of several teams over the last 15 years, 2017, whatever, You know, what do you do? What is my take on the Snakes? They're a good baseball team. They're, uh, do you sit there and go, wow, they've got Hall of Famers here, there, and everywhere? No, but they've got really good players here, there, and everywhere. I would give them a edge in the middle of the pen, but not much else. Let's see. Transfers are discounted, in my opinion. They weren't first team where they were. Yeah. Which tells you again the talent that Texas Tech is still rebuilding. Fortunately, McGuire is stringing together. So far, it looks like top 30, top 25 national recruiting classes, which can only help after a decade of just dreadful recruiting. Some of the worst recruiting in the Big 12, some of the worst recruiting in the country. We ask you today, bandwagons you're on, bandwagons you're off. You got to know what you're on, what you're off. We're asking you what has surprised you the most. Has there been a 7-game series where the home team will lost every game? Yeah, this one. The 6-game series a couple of years ago, I want to say 2019, the home game lost every game as well. So this one is the first one to match that since then. I'm still shocked, says a texter. The team would, quote, beat last year's by 2 touchdowns. When will tickets be available? I'm there. Yeah. I'll never fault a coach for being a promoter of his team. And I see people going, he's a used car salesman. He said, what the hell do you want? I would much rather a coach talk up his team than talk down his team. Much rather see that than otherwise. However, when you do that, you do run the risk of when you don't, you wrote the check and now you can't cash it. Michael is on no bandwagon. Are you sure? I bet you are. I bet you are. You don't even know it. I bet you're off some bandwagons. 3 years would be better. Yeah. Coach Stone of women's soccer is impressive. Yeah. And you know what? It's been impressive that through some Midland Conference finishes, and I know it's soccer and a lot of people don't really pay attention to it, but this team was in 8th place in the Big 12, in the 10-team Big 12, 2 or 3 seasons ago. I can't remember which. That in some programs, UTEC fans would have been calling for his removal. Man, he peaked under Becky. They're just not getting it done. Look at all of the expenditure on the Walker complex and the support they've gotten. And there you go. But they've stayed with him. And it's worked out pretty good. By the way, I'm always on the Tom Stone bandwagon. He is a gem. He is a jewel. We need more Tom Stone of everything. Michael says, on the wagon, off the wagon. That was a Seinfeld episode. I think it was. Stacy's in there. Texters are on the United Supermarket text line here on a Wednesday in the Arctic Air Studios, as we're brought to you by Pete's Tire Service in Ropesville, Texas. If you do not have them laid into your phone, you need to. Roadside assistance. Show me somebody else who's going to be doing that around here. And then by Premier Sportsplex, where the game is on. Ryan, if you were a player in modern college football, you would get an NIL deal for perfect skin. Or are you using a filter? #jealous. I look this good when I wake up every damn morning. In fact, I was combing my hair before we walked into the Arctic Air Studios, Texter, and it shocked me how good I looked, even in my advanced age. I get the great skin, I truly do, from my grandmother on my dad's side. My grandmother, Marguerite Hyatt, God rest her soul, incredibly fair skin. And then I've got a ton of Irish in me as well. And I'm trying to lose the weight. We as sports fans have a tendency to believe that firing a coach is a cure-all for bad teams. Not always. Texter, will Joey talk as much trash during the offseason next year? I didn't hear him talk trash. Give me some trash talk examples. I heard him promoting his team. I like that. I hope he does the same thing next year. Another texter off the United Supermarkets text line. If you'd never been to a World Series and the game was in your team's backyard, what's the most you'd be willing to pay for a ticket? $100 rule. I won't pay more than $100. There's no musical act I've ever come close to paying that kind of money for, nor would I for the most part. But and money is all relative to everybody. My $100 is not your $100. It's not somebody else's $100. But yeah, if it were convenient, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to, take too much time out of my schedule, I'd drop a hundo to go see. And I would have done it more so past Rangers than right now. I like them, but there you go. Was the texter blind? I'm on the RV winterizing bandwagon. Going to freeze next week. You don't have to wait till next week. This weekend, I think we're going to get the freeze. I think it's going to beat the average by about 2 days, maybe. Sunday night into Monday. We could very well be looking at it. Troy is on the Rangers bandwagon. It's been too long. It's about time. Excited for our team here in Texas. There you go. The Lindale, Texas native, living Lubbock native. Ben, just like Coach Stone, give Joey time. He'll right the ship. He's the real deal, trust. And I believe in the process, and I believe McGuire's going to get there. And I think you might see some missteps along the way, like you see with a lot of coaches. And he's still a first-time major college coach. Texter, damn, I was ready to put down $800. You saved me. Hey, maybe your 800 is my 100. I don't know. Has Texter ever played in World Series prior to Josh? Yeah. Tomlin. Parker, was it Parker Mashinsky who was on the roster for the Astros? I don't think he'd appeared. Somebody with, oh gosh, now I'm blanking out. Tomlinson with the Indians, maybe? I think there have been 3 former Red Raiders who have been on World Series teams. Josh is by far playing the largest role of any player. Who am I thinking of with the Indians? Pitchers, 2 pitchers. And then I don't think Josh Bard was ever on a World Series team. He was, I believe, a bullpen coach. I think Josh Bard was the bullpen coach for the Dodgers a few years back in one of their World Series appearances. Oh, this is a good one off the United Supermarkets text line. Have you noticed Joey has stopped mentioning Matt Rule all the time? Probably a good idea. I get why he did early on, but yeah, at a certain point, yeah. It's all right. Spike used to talk about Darrell Royal and different coaches. With these people saying Joey talking trash, I wanted to say, well, I hope we go 6-6. Do you know if there's ever been a player? Didn't I just read that? Yeah. Okay. Glenn watching. Still expecting the Rangers to find a way to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. If they do, that's fine. They're ahead of schedule. If they don't win, they're ahead of schedule. The voting for AL MVP was done prior to the postseason. Don't know if the injury will hurt him or not. The betting markets were spread out. He might, but nothing you've seen in the postseason helps him at all. David says, I will admit. What do you admit to there? I'll admit to being spoiled. I'm used to credential, backstage pass, etc. I may be cheaper than Hyatt. Yeah, and that's another thing that I am kind of. I freely admit I have lived an adult life of being totally spoiled on not having to pay to go to games and stuff. It recoils me, what you guys have to pay. I recoil from that. I can't fly commercial. Can't fly commercial. Only charter. Where's all this? This is another good question. Where's all the speed this team was supposed to have? I think you're seeing it in some situations on defense, but certainly on offense, it hadn't come to play yet. Defense, I think, has been more still physically manhandled at times. Or, let's all say it together, simultaneous sip. Well, our run fits weren't very good. Our rush lanes weren't very good. We had downhill eyes and we should have had uphill eyes. Our keys were off. Our keys were on. And I love DeRuiter, and DeRuiter's got skins on the walls, and I ain't saying nothing bad about him. But every now and then, sometimes when coaches are talking, all I do is I start swimming in my head, and I have Lyle Setensich flashbacks to they need to have 38 starts in the defense before they really understand what they're doing. No, we can't do that. Concert tickets have gotten ridiculous. Nosebleed seats. George Strait over $300. I wouldn't pay $300 for George Strait. Yeah, he's still up for Rookie of the Year. They'll announce those after the World Series. Isn't there in the verse of Book of Revelation? It's Revelation, not Revelation. Book of Revelation. Rangers win the World Series right before the apocalypse. Behold, the pale horse on the man who sat upon him was Bruce Bochy, and he brought death to the Diamondbacks. I think that's a loose translation of the Greek. What's the best pro game you've been gifted tickets to? I guess maybe a Cowboys game back in the day. You know, it's bad, but I always got credentials if I wanted to go to any pro games for the most part. That's not true though. I did go as a fan to some Rangers games over the years. Tech is back to stacking tickets deep and selling them cheap after all season ticket holders paid premium prices. Yep. Not shocked by that. Demand, supply, demand. $300 for George Strait wouldn't pay it. I love me some George Strait. Hoping the change at center will be helpful. It certainly didn't help out Jake Strong the other night. See, and I can say this as the dad of a center, and my son just had a wickedly below average night snapping the ball last week with an injury that he was dealing with. And I would have totally understood if the coaches had to make a change. You've got one job to do. If your center can't get the ball to the quarterback in a manner that allows the quarterback a fighting chance to make play, and if I've got to look down, I've lost everything as a quarterback in the gun. Every advantage I had of being in the gun is gone if I've got to look down as a quarterback. And that was happening to Strong, and it was going to be bad enough anyways. You can't have that. Chris Carpenter, and you can't hear him in an arena anyways. Yeah. World Series Game 3, all free. Cool. Favorite Creed song? I don't know. I saw them in concert. I caught drumsticks when they came to Lubbock in 2000. That's like one of the first concerts at United Supermarkets Arena. I had good seats, as you can imagine. Why would I not? Take You Higher or whatever it is. They only got 4 songs, right? I mean, I saw them at their peak. Saw George Strait 3 times, same exact concert each time. Yeah, you kind of had to spread it out and see them in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s in order to get a little bit of a different concert. Let's see, off the United Supermarkets text line. So if Tech somehow played for a national championship in the Jones and you weren't gifted tickets, is $100 still the most you're paying? I'd probably go $150 on that. Was Jake Strong decent in high school? Yeah. Recruited by a lot of schools that play football. Highly thought of. And he's going to be a good college quarterback when it's all said and done. He's just not ready yet. For those who are just joining us, a couple of minutes left. It'll be Baron Morton back at quarterback for TCU. That's good news. Stats is your right guard. Wilburn is your center now. Bandwagon Wednesday, the ones you're on, the ones you're off. And then we're asking you tonight, what surprised you so far the most about Texas Tech football? What has surprised you about it this year the most? We'll go a few more minutes. Things we have not gotten to on this show. And it's an open week, so we got time, even though I won't be with you probably on Friday. Road game for the Eagles on Friday. The Patrick Mahomes leaking that it's going to be Adidas that Tech's going with in apparel. Good move. Great move. Mahomes can be to you what Michael Jordan has been for nearly 40 years now for North Carolina from that standpoint. Do it. Do it. That not everybody is maybe the perfect fit, but that is the perfect fit. And Adidas makes good stuff, and they'll give you good stuff, and you'll look nice, and their shoes don't fall apart. Yay. Now, Tech, I don't think, can contractually announce that until the deal with Under Armour is up. They've got, obviously, they would be having some conflict of interest there. I understand that. So it might not be until later on in the spring, summer that you get that. They'll probably do it tonight. Roseville doing good, undefeated in district play right now, taking on the mighty Plains Cowboys coming up. And then the final regular season game against third-ranked New Home. We'd love to see that one out there at Ropes as a battle for the district championship. Everything running through every town we play versus Lubbock has surprised me the most. Everything running through. Yeah. Why are the coaches letting Strong throw downfield so many interceptions? Because they couldn't tackle him before the defense did? No, I really, and once the ball is snapped, coach can't stop the quarterback pretty much from trying to do what he's going to do. But man, I would have had a whole lot wheel route, swing passes, meaningful screens, not bubbles, wide receiver screens, but real screens. Good God-fearing Tom Landry screenplays. I would have highly targeted the tight end, and then you could have taken some shots. Then you could have gone downfield. Craig, Saturday I'm leaving for the mountains of Red River. Good, bless you, good on you. Be sure to drop by Lifts West. Tell Billy we'll see him soon. All of our great people there. Direct snaps to Tosh. Yeah. Texter, I'm surprised and upset I don't have the Hyatt show turning morning into afternoon anymore. You're not missing anything. We're right here every day. Conversation the same, everything. Although I do miss hanging out with Rob Bro every day. I really do that. I would love to see a real screen. Yes, it's possible to run real screens, and they still work. And Tech has the offensive lineman, in my opinion, to do it. I think they're athletic enough. The big boys can get downfield. I'm a huge fan of the screen game. It's so underutilized, in my opinion, in football today. James, my son is a center. He worries about timing and height constantly. And we're talking about snapping the ball here. Hopefully not his comedy routine and how tall he is, although that could be something he's worried about as well. Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's got to be automatic. You can't even think about it. You ought to be able to blindfold the center, and they can do it in their sleep. Just tell them where the quarterback is, how deep, and ought to be right there. Troy, right on. God bless. Everyone have a great day tomorrow. God is good. God is good every day. Amen. We'll have our commentary, 60 seconds of Raiderland, ready to go tomorrow. You won't want to miss that. If you missed any of them, go to the website, theraiderland.com. New commentary we're doing mostly every day. Hated deep snapping. Yeah. My brother was a really good deep snapper. Quick story. When he went to Mississippi State, he was going to walk on, and he gets all the way down to Jackie Sherrill's office. And he sits there, and he's visiting with Jackie Sherrill. And the fact that he had played Texas high school football is what actually got him in the door, that somebody had vouched for him. So he had his meeting with Jackie Sherrill. This is in the early 90s when he was at Mississippi State, obviously. And he gave him a spiel, and, Sherrill's looking at him. He reaches behind him. He pulls down a clipboard, and he starts reading off these names, and he goes, District MVP, second team All-State, third team All-State, first team All-State, first for 6'2", 275, 6'3". He reads off about 11 names, and he looks at him and says, son, you still think you want to do this? And my brother said, where's the office for the golf coach? And he went down the hall and he talked to the golf coach, and he made it 3 days in the Mississippi State Gong Show of trying out for the golf team. Yeah, 2 days to go. Made it 3 days. Pretty cool. He was a better golfer, certainly, than I was, Much better golfer. A good deep snapper can last a long time in the NFL. Yes, they can. Could the issues be higher up the food chain? Cameron wants to know. I assume you're talking about Tex, and I don't think so. The resources are there. The support is there. The Womble people, the Campbell people. You have incredible support by your president, Skubanek. If there's anybody else on the food chain, can't see what it would be. Can't see what it would be. All right, we've got to say goodbye. Oh, by the way, Dwayne commenting probably on YouTube. We can't see those, so that's why you got to use the United Supermarkets text line, 806-772-0197. We have to end the stream first for our YouTube and Twitter people, and then you guys know what happens after that. So end the stream, yes. I want to end the stream.